Hi YouTubers! Today is going to be an orchid video, and I've got some new orchids to share with you, and I've got some status updates on some very old orchids. So let's go right on to the new thing, a couple new things. So here you'll see I have some, let's see if you can, some Catleyas or Catleyas. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. Maybe somebody who knows better than I could help us out. Now, I think I mentioned this before, but one of my favorite orchid YouTubers is a man named Ed in the UK, and he has a beautiful greenhouse and has been growing orchids for a very long time. And he has very good, informative videos, and they really have helped me out quite a bit. So I want to, give a shout out to Ed, and I'll put his link down in the description box. And I want to point out, this is something that he suggested. Now, I bought this Cattleya at a local department store, and it was not looking too good. As you can see, it's a little wrinkly, and it had no roots at all. I just dropped one. But what I want to show you, I'm going to bring this out over here into some light over here if I can. And you'll also see my discus while we do this. Why not? Okay, so we're in front of the discus tank. Can you see these little, let's see if we can focus. Maybe back here. Aha, here we go. Those are brand new roots. Now, these had no roots at all. As you can see on the end, it was just dry, papery. There was nothing there. But look what's happening. We're getting new roots. And this is because Ed recommended every other day I soak these roots in water, and then I put them back on top, laying on top of the bark in the pot. So what this does is they get moist, and then they dry out, and then they get moist, but they lay on top of the wood, and they're happy. So this is working. I just wanted to pass along that little tip. If you have Catleyas that you think are completely dead, lo and behold, you may be able to resurrect them if they're not too far gone by using this method. So let's go back around. Sorry for the shakiness. So I would soak these, and then I just lay them roots down on the wood here, and I let them dry out. Now here's the other one. And this one was even worse. I mean, look at that. It just had absolutely nothing going for it. And let's go back in front of the light. I'm sorry, I'm having lighting issues in here today. Let's see if we can see this. And they want to, my camera's focusing on the fish. But anyway, look at that. We have roots. Wonderful. So anyway, I just put them back on top of there, and they're going to be soaked again tonight, and then I put them back on top. Now this is the other brand new Cattleya that I bought, and this thing is doing great. Now this one had roots, and I have taken them out. Remember I had all my orchids up in my kitchen window, and because it's an old farmhouse, that window pane has no insulation, so there was no way I could keep those there all winter. They just would freeze. So now I have them above my goldfish tank. Here, I'll show you. Looks like there's no fish in there. There they are. There's some. They're all over. But anyway, I have them up here for two reasons. One is it's nice and warm in here in the living room. And I have this window closed right now, but it does get some indirect sunlight. And they're going to get moisture coming up from the fish tank. So this really is a nice ideal spot for orchids. Okay, so right here in this pot, I have it in a new pot, but this is one of my really old ones that everybody commented, the big healthy leaves. This thing is doing pretty good. It's kind of dark in there, but you can see it has really nice big fat roots. It's doing good. It did flower. You can see the spike is now dying back. This too right here, and sorry, there's algae in the bottom of this water, which is not good. I've got to clean that out. But I just wanted to show you, this too is an old one that has just gone gangbusters. It's now leaning over in its pot. That's how it wants to grow. You can see how old this one is. Look at that. Look at the root system. It's just leaning out of the pot. And that one will flower again for me. I have no doubt about it. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the kitchen and we're going to look at a couple more. Okay, so here we are in the kitchen and we're in that old window that's like single pane, old bubbly old window. So it's way too cold for any plants in the winter. So as you can see, I've done something a little different in the window. It has kind of a colonial look. I do have a brand new orchid in the window, which is going against everything I just said. But the only reason why I have that there is I'm not leaving there at night. I have it up in the day so it gets some light. And it's a nice, happy, I'm sorry it's so dark in here. Let's see if I can help it. Look at how pretty those are. So this is a new one that I bought at the grocery store. And I take it out of here at night. But that's just a little, nice little spot for it in the day. And it looks so pretty there. I really like it. That's my little kitchen window. And then I'm going to take you over here where I have some other plants just sitting on my kitchen bar just to get some sunlight. This one is tilted up like this so everything in the pot can get some sunlight. This is just a little dish of succulents that I made. And you can see I have a couple taped up because I have some cats that like to play with it. And oddly enough, you can heal those by taping them and let them heal, and they will heal themselves. Little trick for succulents. Okay, so here we have a very old orchid, and it has a new leaf. And there's an old flower spike that I really should probably cut back. There's no point in leaving that, especially for winter. I'm going to give all my orchids a rest for winter. I've already started changing how I water and how I feed to just kind of, let them all take a nice little rest for winter time. And if you live in a warmer climate, you may not have to do that. But I suggest it. I think, any living thing, I think, would enjoy a rest, right? Don't we all? So anyway, look at that. This is one of the really old ones. Did I show you the one? Yeah, the other one is on the fish tank. The one that almost died completely. And it was the one that was in that little pot with the holes in it. It was the one that started out. It was in the little fish, ceramic fish. And then the cat knocked that off. That broke. So then I had to repot it in another pot, and it came back. It flowered for me a couple times. It's doing great. It's now above the fish tank. It's one of the ones I just showed you in there. So it has huge leaves, and it's doing really good. And this is the third old one that I had that used to be up in that window, and it has a new leaf. This one's a little slower going, but the leaves are nice and stiff. They're nice and full. So I just wanted to show you that the orchids are all doing well. And that now is the time. Winter's coming. It's the end of fall here in New England, and it's time to put them all to bed. And by bed, that means I water them less. I let them dry out more. I'm not going to fertilize them at all until spring. Now, some people, they may do that differently. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to just let them rest. I'm going to probably, after I turn this camera off, I'm going to cut off all the old spikes too. So the next orchid video I do will probably be when we're ready to wake them up again in spring. And, when we get ready to do that, I'm going to buy all fresh new bark. I'm going to give them all fresh new media with charcoal, perlite, and bark. Sometimes a little moss. It depends on what I'm doing. Usually I don't like to use moss because I tend to overwater. But I have done it. I have done it in instances where I'm trying to get an old dried out root system to come back. So, there's no steadfast rule. You really have to kind of be flexible with orchids and let them speak to you and tell you what they need the most. So I hope your orchids are all doing well. And I hope you have a very happy holiday this season. And I will see you again soon. Bye, YouTubers.